Yo, 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 yo. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Max and Juan cast. Max, how you doing tonight?
Oh, geez, was doing better like 30 an hour and like 15 minutes ago. When the Eagles, right before Saquon hit the ball hit his hands, I was doing pretty good. I don't know, Juan. It's week 2. It's tough. I think like week 4 is when you can finally really react,
Yeah.
but it just sucks, dude. It sucks to lose a game like that. Like it's been a thing for the Eagles. We're gonna get into it, but just sucks. That's how I'm feeling right now.
Hey,
A little
look,
down in the dumps.
look. If I had to title this video, I'm probably gonna name it
You are gonna title it,
"Underdogs."
but
Yeah,
okay.
like
Nice. There you
underdogs.
go.
Week 2
Underdog
upset.
weekend?
Yeah, underdog weekend, upset alert. So many upsets. So not surprised what happened on Monday night. Look, before we get into it though, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to like the video. Appreciate all the love and support that we've been getting. Y'all been killing it lately. Welcome to all the new subscribers that we have. Appreciate you guys rocking with us, bro. All right, let's get into it. Week 2. Let's start off with the Eagles, man. I think, fresh in our brain, just got finished watching it. Look, it comes down to this play call. It comes down to the third down play call in the fourth quarter. They decide to pass the ball. Atlanta Falcons have no timeouts left. They throw it to Saquon Barkley. Of course, he drops it. Falcons go down the field. They
I
score.
don't feel
Game
like you
over.
can be mad at the play call. I don't think you can be mad because it was there. Jalen Hurts executed. Saquon Barkley didn't. It's unfortunate, but I'm more pissed off about not taking points like early in the game.
Yeah.
I felt like the way this game was going to be low scoring game. I know there were some touchdowns late at the end, but like overall, I was like, damn, a lot of field goals, right? Younghoe Koo, Jake Elliott were coming out there pretty constantly. You win the game. At worst, they score a touchdown. They have to go for 2, I think. That's how it would have worked. Or no, I think we would have outright just been ahead by 9. But,
Yeah.
when I can talk about Jalen Hurts, I thought he played pretty good. The pick at the end, I feel like you're trying to make a play. You don't have A.J. Brown out there. You have only Devontae Smith you really trust. So I can't be too mad about that play. I was pissed in the moment because I was like, man, what are you doing? Like, it just seems like we always come up short in these situations. But I will say this, the defense, man, week 1, I couldn't evaluate it because that field was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Week 2, horrendous.
Yeah.
Horrendous in the terms of this. The pass rush is horrendous. And part of me wants to say, oh, it's a really good O-line. And yeah, Jalen Carter won a few times, but he's not winning at the rate he was winning last year. And maybe that's just schematically. Obviously, he's facing more double teams than he was last year. That's something he has got to deal with. But the pass rush looks flat. Bryce Huff's not winning. Josh Sweat's not really winning. They do these 5-man blitzes. It gets picked up, and no one, even on the 5-man, they don't win it. Vic Fangio, how many times can they run outside zone? How many times are we gonna give it up, dude? Both the Eagles and Falcons, 8 yards of carry. It was horrendous. I'm just really disappointed in the defense. One, look,
Yeah.
it's week 2, right? So
Yeah,
like
it's week
the
2.
rational part of me is like, hey, one more time. The Falcons have a good O-line. The O-line's MVP of the game. And I will say this: I don't think one drive erases away how their offense looked. It wasn't that good. Their Falcons' offense, like that last drive, was awesome. And
Yeah.
you have to factor in the Eagles were like, okay, you can move the ball 40 yards, but I don't think the Eagles realized they were moving the ball so fucking fast. It was over. It was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. You can see why the Falcons struggled against Pittsburgh last week. Because if you get pressure on Kirk Cousins, it's good night. Like he can't move. He's a
And
statue in there.
obviously, he played better. He obviously did, but he didn't face nearly as good a defense. And I just think the recipe is going to be pressuring him. It's game over. I mean, that was the recipe before he got hurt.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think he played that great. I thought he played maybe a 75 game, like out of 100. But that last drive was awesome. He was awesome the last drive. There was no doubt. But
honestly, Max, I felt like tonight he really did save his job. Like I think.
Yeah, I agree that. Yeah.
It would have got ugly. Like if they would have went in this game and like, hey, we only scored 10 points or 6 points, whatever it was, and Kirk Cousins is still struggling, like it's looking like Michael Penix time. And you know how it goes. Like the noises start getting louder, the fans start getting louder. Hey, let's play Michael Penix. This guy's hurt. This guy's not healthy. We wasted all this money. Blah 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 blah. He shut all that up tonight. regardless on how it looked throughout the
He
game, he got
delivered
the
a
win.
big one. Yeah, he did. And it calms the questions. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Well, like you said, you summed it up perfectly. Look, the Eagles need to really reevaluate how they're using the D line. I do like stuff I've seen on defense. Like I don't want to overreact and be like, we suck on defense because we held them. We had some timely stops.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just some growing pains, which I'm hoping it is. And on offense, I thought we looked better than week one, and I'm liking it. I still want to see a little bit more go under center. But the takeaway of the game is the Eagles, obviously fumbled the bag. Falcons saved Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins saved his job.
Yeah.
And I will say this one thing about the Eagles. This is me wrapping it up. How do they bounce back? We're playing the Saints, which is fucking terrifying to me. But here's
Really?
the one thing, right? It's either like, oh, we're gonna get rolled, or it's like, okay, now the Saints are. This is the game. The Saints are gonna come
The Saints are
crashing back down
marching
there.
in. All right, look,
Oh, we're going to the Saints. We're going to New
yeah,
Orleans.
yeah, I know. Saints come marching in. Let's talk about the Saints. I think they're the talk of the NFL right now. They end up beating the Dallas Cowboys in their home opener, and they wax them. They did. They're running the
I
ball.
hate that scene where like they waiting for the doors and these fucking idiots come sprinting in like you're on fire. Like they act like the game's like about to kick off, right? It's like 2 hours before the game. I'm like, I hate that so much. I don't know why I always hate it. But I mean, this is the second year in a week and the second year in a row, week 2 Cowboys laid a big fucking egg. What do you think? What do you think? Is this like, oh,
I
just
think
a little speed bump, or is this like typical Dallas?
I
Typical.
think I think great minds think alike. I think that the talking point here, Max, is the Cowboys. I really do think so. I think it's the Cowboys. Everyone wants to say it's the Saints, but I'm just
One, they
I don't
just gave
trust it.
Dak $60 million. They just and that defense got. That's what I hate. They're all like, Dak just got paid 60 mil. They got blown out. I'm like, did you want him to start tackling Alvin Kamara and Olave and Shaheed? Right? Like,
Yeah.
it was a fucking bloodbath, dude. I think the Saints have scored 15 of Derek Carr's drives. Like the first 15 drives, they scored points. That's unbelievable. Aren't you afraid? Aren't you like, oh, this is the second time we've kind of laid flat against good opponents, right? So I don't know. Where do you go from here, one? What do you think? That's what I want to know. What are your thoughts? And I know you're saying the storyline's Dallas, but what do you think about Dallas after 2 weeks? One
Dallas
blowout, which we saw a lot of, and now they get blown out.
Dallas is not a good team. Everyone wants to overreact week 1 against the Browns. I think the Browns are a really bad team. I know they won this week against Jacksonville. It was an ugly game. I think Jacksonville's probably on the same boat. Like they're pretty terrible themselves. But the Saints have beat 2 mediocre teams, the Panthers, and the Cowboys just
Oof.
don't look good to me. They don't I think they can't run the ball. They don't know who's their starting running back. It's Zeke, it's Rico Dowdle, whatever his fucking name is. They got Deuce Vaughn. Like
Well,
no
I
one
don't.
can run
First
the
of all, I don't
ball.
think they have one. They don't have a starting running back. They
Yeah,
just have two. They just have backs. They just have a committee. There's no
yeah.
Saquon. There's not even like a Ramondre Stevenson type guy. You know what I mean? Like they just don't have anyone who's even good. They just have guys who are like average. Like they'll get the yards that are there, nothing more. If you ask me.
Look, I don't trust Dallas. I really don't. Look, I need us as far as the Saints go. I need to see it more. I really do. I need to see it more. They look great. Look, I think the main story here is Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara looks fantastic. He looks really fast. He looks good. He looks healthy. Uh, to me, the defense also, Alante Taylor and Paulson Adebo are playing lights out right now. I think they're playing some of the
You're
best
not even
corner ball.
including their best corner, which is crazy. And
Yeah,
dude, I think Honey Badger had a hell of a game too. He had a couple picks, was just flying all over the place.
yeah,
I really like what I've seen from the Saints. And I'll say this one. Derek Carr was a few times he was under pressure and he just was like, I'll deliver this ball exactly. And I was like, that's the shit.
yeah.
That's the stuff I was really impressed by with them. Like to me, like you can't take too much like, oh, they beat the brakes off the Panthers. But I'm like, damn, I'm seeing Derek Carr be fearless.
Yeah.
And if I can see that in a consistent basis, this team's going to be lights out. It's going to be really tough to
But
beat them.
it's all about consistency with Derek Carr. It's all about
Correct.
consistency. The most consistency he's ever had was 2016, I believe, his MVP quote unquote year when he got hurt with the Raiders. Other than that, he's never really had a consistent year. He's had stretches like this where he's thrown for 350 yards, like for 4 straight weeks, and 3-1 start, whatever the case is. He's known to do this, but we're gonna find out very quick, Max, because like you said, they play Philly next week, then they play at Atlanta, at Kansas City, Tampa
Well,
Bay.
if we rush the passer like we did this week, it's over. Like Derek Carr in the clean pocket, lights out. It's
Yeah,
lights out.
yeah. So your thoughts on the Saints? Is it a believe? Let me see more or
We're
frauds?
let me see more. Let me see more. They're definitely not fraudulent. I can't call them fraudulent. I can't call them great, but I'm like, ooh, this is trending in the right way. This is like exactly what I want to see. You beat the brakes off the Panthers, who are just a freaking disaster,
Yeah,
like a walking disaster. And then you beat the team up. Dallas is a good team. I think they're going to be good. I don't think they're great, and I think they're susceptible to this because they don't have a great coach. So I'm pleasantly surprised. But they've been the surprise of the first 2 weeks of Saints by far. No one else.
yeah. And there's always that team. There's always that team that comes out 2-0. They're like, what the fuck? Like a couple years ago, it was the
Well, I'll say this
Giants.
though. I will say this though. 2-0 in a very dominant fashion. Though it's not like they're 2-0. Like who would have thought? It's like damn they wasn't even like going to lose this game. They got a lucky call. Like yep, they're just dominant.
Yeah,
We'll see if they keeps up.
yeah. And I hate to say this too. Another flaw about the Saints, they're very top heavy. Like after Alvin Kamara, it's like they don't really have a good like backup.
They
I
have
don't.
Jamal is solid.
Jamal's kind of he's not the same guy. Chris
Yeah.
Olave,
No,
Shaheed. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I really want to see that Kansas City game. If everything works out, like, hey, let's say they beat the Philadelphia Eagles, it's gonna be, hey, the excuse is gonna be the Eagles are what's happening to the Eagles here. Then they beat Denver, whatever. But that Kansas City game in KC, that's gonna be something, bro. Like if Derek Carr has done it before, but man, if they can go in and beat KC, it's like that's gonna be very impressive.
well, yeah, that would be a very impressive one. The Saints' schedule is not the easiest either anymore. Like, I mean, obviously Carolina sucks, but
Yeah.
it might be a perfect segue. But the Falcons are going to be. I mean, the Eagles are going to be tough. Cowboys, they play the Chiefs. It's tough, tough little batch of games.
Yeah. All right. Well, you mentioned the Panthers. We just got news today, Max. Let's talk about it. Bryce Young. Bryce Young and the Panthers lose their second straight game. I wouldn't even say second. It's been, what, like 10, 11 straight losses, something
13.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Look, long story short, they get dominated. Bryce Young is officially benched for Andy Dalton. All right. Andy
I guess we
Dalton's
talk about the decision first, and then we talk about if we would do it, or what do you think is the right way to approach this?
I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't. Look, I know the kid is struggling.
I don't see the purpose. Like,
Right.
I feel like you're just admitting defeat. Like,
Yeah.
dude, okay, so what? You think you look this bad for 2 more weeks, and you're like, "Oh, we can go back to him." See, like, it's not him. God forbid you win the next game. If you win the next game, it's like, it's all Bryce Young. It's
Yeah.
all Bryce Young, and I'll tell you, man, I sent you this as a joke today. Like, I was, like, busting your balls about
Yeah.
I sent, like, the picture of Juan's number 1 QB, Bryce Young, and I said, "Way to evaluate." Or I said something like I was like, what did I say? I can't remember.
Tough look
But
for my guy.
yeah, tough look for my guy. But I'll say this, man. I was high on him too, and at the time, I wish I was tougher on him, but
Yeah.
I don't think I would have saw this coming. Like this is like really like this is like you might get cut like after the year type shit. You might get traded for like a 7th round pick.
Yeah.
And I'll say this one. It started with Carolina kind of letting him down. And it's just now it's in the point where he's not seeing the field good. He's second guessing himself. He's just getting teed off on. I really don't even know what he's lost confidence. That's what you can see the body language. He looks defeated. He doesn't look like the guy who was at Alabama who was just he won a Heisman Trophy for God's sakes. This was a really good player. And I think he's failed, and I think it's a failure. And I think the Panthers are pretty much. If you bench him right now, you're calling it, man, and you're calling it. And here's what I'll say, because we always want to give quarterbacks like the pass. I always make this excuse for young quarterbacks. Hey, Trevor Lawrence, he had a horrible coach his first year, new head coach his second year, new system. Think about Justin Herbert, right? How many coaches he's been through, how many OCs, right? Jalen Hurts, but these guys always were making plays where you were like, I can see the light of the tunnel, right? And I don't know outside of that game against CJ Stroud where I've been like, oh, I can see where it's going to be a success with Bryce Young.
Yeah.
And that's what's bad. Like Anthony Richardson, right? You're like, fuck, he was horrible this week, right? 100% horrible. But he was like, wow. Week 1 was like, Jesus, we have something, we think. And Bryce Young just hasn't delivered that. And I said this to the group chat, like, hey, man, I think he just sucks now. I think he's kind of let off. But if you tell me in 3 years he's back in the NFL and he's on a 49ers and Brock Purdy goes down and he comes in, they look good, I'm like, yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. But he's just not a number 1 pick type guy. I think that's clear. He's not at the level of talent. CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, he just don't have it. And it's just clear. He's small. He's not athletic to the point where it can compensate for the lack of small size. And he doesn't have an elite arm. And now the one thing we praised him for, the decision making, right? You were like, he's a point guard. Yeah. That's gone. And I think they've handled it poorly, because I think this is like the worst thing they could have done. If he had any chance to be good, you have to let him play. You have to like try to regrow some belief. And I just think this is the stupidest move they could have done. And I'm sorry, it took a lot of your time.
No, look. No, that was great. Look, a lot of the stuff that you said, I completely agree. I just want to add this on it. The Panthers are really bad. They have a really, really bad roster. They lost their best player already, Derek Brown. That's arguably their best player on their roster, and he's gone. They don't have much talent. Everyone thought, hey, coaching change. It's the coach. It's Frank Wright. New coach in there, new system. Let's see what we can do. We draft a guy in Xavier Leggett.
I don't want to say the rosters. I mean, the defense roster might not be that great. The offense isn't like Browns with Deshaun Kaiser. I mean, like, they invested money in the O-line. They gave a big money. They have first-round picks. They have decent receivers. Like, I feel like that's not fair to say. Like, come on, Ike Ekwonu. Was Ike Ekwonu not a first-round? Like, he was
I mean,
he is.
He is. They have
got
guys.
Robert Hunt.
They have.
I'm just saying, though. I agree. It's not the best roster in the league, but I think the coach too shares some blame in this, because, bro, they've done nothing right. They don't have a fucking thing to hang their hat on.
Yeah.
So I agree with Bryce Young is not good. The roster's not good, but let's not let the coaching escape, because they have been bad too. It's not just Frank Wright. Frank Wright was looking better than this shit. They've scored 13 points in 2 games. And the Chargers, they bullied the fuck out of them all game.
Yeah. They made Quentin Johnston look like a fucking Hall of Famer out there.
Oh, my God. He's alive.
Look.
He's alive.
I would never do that. I would let the kid play out the whole fucking season. I spent so much capital on him.
Exactly. You didn't mention the trade.
Yeah.
You just were like, that's what even makes it like, oh my God, Jamarcus Russell, you're no longer the worst first pick ever. Like, the trade is just the cherry on top. Like, but look, oh my God.
You know what doesn't look good on the Panther side? Everyone can say, hey, Bryce Young looks terrible. He's the issue. He's lost confidence, whatever. Let's just talk about Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold having resurgences, they had both.
Terrific. I think we should just lump them together.
Let's go.
I'm sorry, making a note.
No. Let's go to
Baker. I think
okay.
Go to Baker. Go to Baker. They cut this fucking guy. They gave him like 3 games, 3 or 4. He didn't look that great. They have him playing scout team defensive line. Like, what the hell? I get it wasn't really like that big of a deal, but like, it's still stupid. Baker signs a 1-year deal. He signs like a 1-game deal with the Rams. Looks okay. Goes to the Bucks. And I mean, I just commend the kid. And this is why I've talked about this, and I know it's not really on topic, but it's like I think the Browns needed Baker. Like, I think we should maybe think about, hey, if you redraft that, you take Josh Allen with the Browns, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, because Baker has this fucking thing about him. Josh Allen has it too, but you almost wonder, man, does Baker's just overwhelming like gusto and just who he is like he didn't fail with the Browns. I know we want to say he failed, but like think about what happens to Browns first round quarterbacks and look at Baker. How many of those guys won? They drafted in the first, even had a touch of success. None of
Right.
them.
They won their first
None
playoff
of them.
game against Pittsburgh, bro. Like he did
Correct.
something. Look, I think to chop it all up, it came down to two things. Number one, he was hurt. I think it's obvious.
Correct.
He was hurt.
Correct.
And I think that was a
Dude, and
major
again,
problem.
the talent, a lot of talent. You like the way he like we kind of talk about like the arm strength is real, bro. He's got a cannon. And then he can move around and he just got this thing about him. He's accurate now and he's playing confident.
Yeah.
That's the big
But
thing, right?
it's
He's
hard.
confident.
It's hard to be that guy though, Max. The personality that he is, the brashness, the confidence when you're losing. It doesn't work.
Correct.
You look like an
Yeah, it is
asshole.
very tough. Correct. And again, Baker Mayfield, in my opinion, isn't the type of guy you give the worst roster in the NFL and say, get us there. He's not that.
Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah.
But the one cool thing about him is like, to me, the one thing I say about Bryce Young, like we said, is like he lost confidence, right? Baker be like, I'm fucking fine. I'm fucking good. Like we'll just gun this.
Yeah.
I can gun it in there again.
Yeah.
That's the one cool thing
And
about him.
it's
But
the best.
It's cool to see.
It's the best thing that could have happened to him. You talk about a guy like Geno Smith. Like all this shit that happened before the Seattle shit had to happen to him because he learned. It humbled his ass. He was like, you know what?
Yeah, and it's not fair to he was obviously a bad draft pick by the Jets, Geno Smith, right?
Yes,
Wasn't a bad draft pick.
100%.
Didn't work out. That doesn't mean he's a bad player. There's plenty of players who get drafted, don't do that great with their first team, and then pop off into the scene. Baker Mayfield, he did good with Cleveland. He's doing phenomenal with Tampa.
Yeah,
he's been great. Sam Darnold, let's talk about him now.
Yeah,
the third or fourth pick, maybe fifth,
fourth, third, something like that.
Was a night. He was horrible on the Jets. Look at him now. He's obviously not going to win MVP. I don't think that's fair. Like I don't think he will.
No.
But he's playing at a really high level, and a level me and you probably figuring it out. And
to
he's
me,
in a good system. He's confident.
I wanna give all the credit to Sam Darnold, and I do. He's worked his ass off. Like kind of
loved him.
I loved him. I
love
Sam
I would have
Darnold,
taken him
bro.
first.
Yes,
You
like
said
I
it.
was.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Sam Darnold coming out of USC. But look, if I had to be honest with myself, I do think this is like 70% O'Connell and 30% Darnold. Okay. I think O'Connell does an amazing job. A lot of people forget. Do you remember Joshua Dobbs mania? Like almost like a quarter of the season last year with the Vikings.
Yeah.
Like he won like
he's
4
really
straight
good.
games with Joshua Dobbs, who's not even a starting quarterback right now. Like this is what O'Connell does. He's an amazing play caller. He's an amazing designer. And what he's doing with Sam Darnold just proves it even more. I'm going to give the credit to O'Connell, bro.
I will add a little footnote. They were going to roll the Niners. They were going to fucking flood them. And they had a fumble on like the 1 yard line. The Niners scored right after, and they threw a pick in the red zone. They were moving the ball up and down the field on the Niners, who were no slouches. And really quick, just shout out to Brian Flores. Shout out to Minnesota in general. I think Flores is doing a great job, but I think it's an awesome little segue. We went from Bryce Young, who struggled in Carolina, And I know I talked a lot of crap, but I said, hey, it wouldn't surprise me in a few years if he was kind of figuring it out and was like a middle of the road quarterback.
And wouldn't you got to throw it in? It has to be something that you can't count out. We've seen so many guys do it already.
I said to my group chat, I said they drafted. The problem with Carolina did was to me, and again, I'm not trying to shit on Bryce Young. They drafted Brock Purdy with the first pick and gave him nothing. and what I mean by Brock Purdy is I think he's more talented maybe than Brock Purdy. Like, but if you put Bryce Young on the Niners right now, I think he would be a way different quarterback. We look at him in a way different light because he'd be protected. He'd have confidence. And I mean, I don't know if that's controversial to say. I think that a lot of quarterbacks, you could put them on with the greatest offensive coach with a ton of weapons. They'll look good. Obviously,
a lot of people would love to think like, hey, it's all about the talent. It's all about how you are as a player. But let's be real, your environment is a very, very big factor, bro. Like if you look at Geno Smith, some of the places that he stopped at, some of the guys that he was with, Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning, learning from guys like that. You look at Sam Darnold
Russell
going with
Wilson, Russell Wilson,
Russell
right? He was
Wilson,
there.
going to Sam Darnold. He spent a whole year in San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan in that whole 49er operation. It's they made it to the Super Bowl, you know? So like it
Yeah,
takes even with Baker went with Sean McVay.
McVay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
McVay. Yeah,
you learn how to win, you learn how shit is supposed to do. Like how it's supposed to be done. How do you win? How do you game plan? Like what's some real high level
yeah.
NFL shit? And that's what Bryce Young probably needs because in Carolina, he's obviously not getting it. It's a fucking disaster.
Correct. And again, there's some quarterbacks like I want to talk about. Like I think I said it. I might repeat myself. I'm sorry. Herbert, Lawrence, other guys. It's kind of like, bro, they're so freaking talented. They can kind of get away when it's all shitty, right? And there's very few guys in this league who can do that. There's very few. There's maybe five. There's five quarterbacks where it's like it doesn't really matter. They'll figure it out. And that's why those guys don't bust, even when they're in the horrible situations. But for a guy that kind of needs a little help, who doesn't have the crazy size, the athleticism, the big arm, the accuracy, you're going to bust sometimes. And that's
Yeah.
what I think that's what kind of doomed Bryce Young. It was kind of a overrated player, obviously, to a bad situation. And I think it's very telling how guys like Sam Darnold, Baker kind of held on. And I think Bryce Young's going to have to follow that path if he wants to
Yeah.
succeed. Because obviously, I think benching him was just the if it's really telling how they respond. If they get fucking rolled, it's gonna be like the locker room. Like you can kind of tell locker rooms like, what is this bullshit? If they win, it's gonna be like, oh man, they like really have belief in Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Who are the Panthers
The Raiders.
playing?
They play the Raiders.
Oh my god, this is a game the Raiders love to lose, bro.
They love. That's why I
Y'all
text
love-
you that. That's why I text you that. When you text me that Andy Dalton was starting, I was like, leave it up to the fucking Raiders to ruin. Like
This is Jeff Saturday calling a plays for the Colts.
I've seen it before.
Right there.
Tyson Bagent, like last year. It's an easy win. Backup quarterback. They're a mess.
So y'all can beat Lamar. Y'all can beat Lamar.
we'll
though.
beat
So
Lamar.
There's my segue. There's my segue. Rant about your Raiders one.
All right, look. The Raiders go out in Baltimore. They beat the Ravens, man. As much as I want to make the headline the Raiders, it's not. I don't think it is. I think the biggest storyline here is the Baltimore Ravens. They're starting off 0-2 for the second time ever in John Harbaugh's stint with the Ravens. It's a big deal, bro. I think their defense was definitely missing Nate Wiggins this week.
And they're missing Mike McDonald as well.
Mike McDonald as well.
And they're playing the Cowboys. They're playing the Cowboys, Bills, and Bengals.
Yeah. It was tough. Look, this is coming from I know what I see, bro. The Raiders offense was putrid in the first half. They had like 60 yards total of offense. And the second half, it flipped.
Can I just say really quick? I thought I was like, man, the Raiders are just like scratching, they're clawing on offense.
Yeah.
They're just trying to stay in the game. And then this, I would say they scratched and clawed the second half, and they were just making a few more plays. It's like, oh, they're going to get that. Devontae's going to catch a nice ball. And I was like, they're fighting their ass off. This is dangerous, man. Don't give them a chance. And I think Baltimore kind of played with their food. They were up by 10 in the fourth, right? They played with their food. And, dude, I mean, I got to tip my hat to the Raiders defense, dude. I know we made a video. They only gave up 16 points to Baltimore.
Look, no, I think they gave up a little bit more, Max.
They gave more? Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. They gave up like 20. I think the final score was like 24-26, something like that.
23. 23, sorry.
Yeah. 23 to the Ravens. But look, I'm sticking to my guns. Everyone was talking shit week one. Anyone that knew me, oh, what about that elite defense, bro? You know, why'd you make that video? I'm like, it's week one, bro. I know what I seen. The Raiders offense was terrible, and the Raiders defense got fucked. They were out on the field all game. Something's going to break. And this game, the offense finally did the defense some fucking props and scored some goddamn points. And that's because of two reasons. Straight up. It's Devontae Adams and Brock Bowers, bro. Brock Bowers is a certified top 10 tight end. Like automatically.
This was a pick I didn't love, I don't think, at the time, because I was like kind of a luxury. I was like, you just trapped at a tight end second round. He's been splendid. He's been a great player. I think he's looked great. He's looked like everything in Georgia.
He has the most catches ever from a tight end since like 1960 in his first two games.
And it's outrageous to think as tight end. I don't think you can name like, oh, I got tight end tore it up his rookie year. Not Pitts. Yeah. Not Kelsey, not
Laporta.
Kittle,
that's
not
it.
Gronk. Yeah, Laporta tore it up, and I mean, I'm impressed. There is one thing I'll say about the Raiders. I was like, man, they were so close to killing Lamar like 10 times, and Lamar is so good. He's so good, but I think the Ravens right now don't have mojo on either side of the ball. I thought they ran the ball well with Henry, but they kind of, you know, it seems like they just kept stalling. You know what I mean? They had like a good drive. Let's move the ball. Stall.
It's number one, the defense. As far as the back end goes, I think their corners are a problem. Like Marlon Humphrey kind of hitting that moment where it's like, oh, you're not elite anymore. Yeah. Like he's getting burned a lot more. Of course, Nate Wiggins didn't play this game, so that was a big loss. Stevens was getting fucked up by Devontae Adams. But look, on offense, it's their O-line. Their O-line sucks. It's not, their interior is good, but their tackles are getting beat left and right. Like Falele is fucking terrible. He gets beat like a drum. He's terrible. And that's the problem. Their offensive line is not that good. Lamar's running for his life. And as much as people want to say that Derrick Henry looks good, he doesn't. It's not efficient. There's multiple negative plays being ran behind the line of scrimmage when Derrick Henry runs.
I was going to say their O-line isn't like the powerhouse I've been thinking it was going to be like. I felt like last year they just moved everybody. And that's what I was going to say. Going to a game like Dallas, we know Dallas is not the most physical team in the past. Like they get moved around. It's going to be a really big test. If Baltimore's O-line doesn't punk them, I'm like, dude, it's bad. Dude, like Derrick Henry should run all over the place.
It's crazy.
Derrick Henry should be running for his
life.
Ravens.
The Ravens find themselves in a must-win in week 3. I know it's week 3. I know it's crazy to say that, but it's.
Oh
true.
No, it is. It is. 0-3 is tough sledding, and I will say this. This is the most confident I've ever been in probably an 0-2 team that they'll turn it around. I can't just say, oh, it's over. It's cooked. The Ravens are still a phenomenal organization. They still have a lot of talent. I'd be surprised if they go 0-3.
I'll be shocked.
To start the year.
Yeah, it's going to be a must-win. Look, as far as the Raiders go, I'm going to say this. I'm not going to say anything crazy like they're going to go on a win streak. The Raiders are the monkey wrench of the fucking league, bro. You don't know what you're gonna get. They can beat any team and they can lose to any team. That's
perfect. You said that. I didn't tell you this before. I want to talk about one team really quickly. I want to talk about Jacksonville because I don't think there's a team that encompasses that as much as the Raiders as the Jags. They are. Look, I'll say this. You can title this clip. You can whatever. Doug Peterson. The seat's getting hot, buddy. It's getting real hot. I watched this firsthand with the Eagles. Year one, it's kind of cool and everything, and then you have a really good year. You're like, ooh, wow, this is really fun. And then it falls off a cliff. I'm telling you, if the Eagles didn't win that Super Bowl, he would have got fired his third year. Maybe he started the fourth. I'm not kidding. I think that Super Bowl bought him like 2 extra fucking years.
I think it's coaching. I think some of the main things to take away from that game, because the Browns Deshaun Watson was trying to give that game away. The Browns were
Oh
trying
yeah,
to lose it.
yeah.
But
And
the
he,
but
you
but the
know what?
Jags were
They
like
looked a little better. The Jags were just like, I don't want this game.
no,
Please don't give it
The
to us. We
Jags
don't.
were literally like, Max, hold my beer. Let me show you how to lose games. Like that's what fucking happened.
I don't like the offense of coordinator at all. I think it's Press Taylor. Don't like him. Don't like how they call offense. I just don't think Doug Peterson's ever been an X's and O's guy. He's always like, we on the Eagles, it was that. It was like, we got the best fucking team in the league. We're gonna just do what we do and no one can stop us. Yeah, that's really cool. Look what happens when you lose a little bit of talent. You have nothing you can do. And I'll say Jacksonville is not the most talented team in the league. And their defense is the only reason they've been even in close games. Their defense is playing really freaking good in my mind. And I'll say this: I know they were going to win week 1, then they fumbled, but that to me is like coaching. You know what I'm saying? I know ETN could be more careful, but it just seems like every week, man. Even going back to last, it's like they're in the game for their fucking life. When was the last time you're like, oh, they rolled somebody? They just came in here and kicked the shit out of a team. Never happens.
Probably the Chargers. I think that was like
Yeah,
the last game that I can remember that they just came
yeah,
out and kicked
maybe,
someone's ass. But the
maybe.
Chargers were
I just
obviously
want to
not that
say
good last year.
they're in a must freaking win game. The Jaguars.
Look,
They're playing the Bills.
oh my
Oh,
goodness, yeah, I can see the Bills losing that game
and
though.
I can't really. I really can't. Maybe they come off the high of winning in Miami. And I don't know if you want to talk about this, but real quick, that's the team the Dolphins are. Every time they have to win a game like that, they get fucking smashed.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. So
Look,
that's the thing.
one more thing on Jacksonville. So I just want to get this clear from you. So Doug Peterson's the problem. What's your panic meter on Trevor Lawrence? That like, okay, this guy's not who he says he is.
I'd say he's about a 6 right now, 6 or 7. It's getting there. It's
Oh
getting there.
man, my meter's a
I
little bit higher, bro. It doesn't look good.
I think he's talented, but there's a couple throws a game he'll miss like a 15-yard out. You know what I'm saying? But I've seen Doug Peterson ruin quarterbacks. I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen his horrible coaching, and he's supposed to be an offensive guy, right? He's an
yeah,
offensive guy.
right.
Their offense sucks.
We'll see. Look, I'm just scared. I'm scared for Jacksonville because it's like, okay, Urban Meyer, coach. That's why Trevor is struggling. Oh, it's Doug Peterson now. You know, like let's get another guy in here, and then you wind up having the same fucking result. And it's like, how long do we got to go through with this and be like, maybe you're the problem, bro?
I agree with that thinking, but I think just Urban Meyer is just a fucking train wreck, obviously. So I would say like
Yeah.
you can't really plate that on Trevor. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't put out the coach cheating on his wife and
Yeah,
doing all
yeah,
this
yeah.
funny shit. So yeah, no, it's a valid point. It's a valid point. One.
We'll see. We'll see as the season goes on. And look, I'm a big Trevor Lawrence guy, but
I like him too.
another number 1 overall pick. That's like, are you the issue, bro? We'll see. All right. Let's talk about 2 more things and then we'll get out of here. Okay.
Oh,
Thoughts on the Chiefs and the Bengals. The Bengals come out. I thought they looked pretty good, bro. I thought Joe Burrow showed some things. I know there was a lot of talk about him and the wrist injury and all this and that. It was a
the
great
water
game.
bottle. Yeah,
It was a great game. Of course, the Chiefs get that fucking penalty as always to
that's
finish off
horrible.
the game. Yeah,
Horrible
I
flag.
fucking hate it, bro.
Pick it up.
Thoughts?
I liked what the Bengals did. I feel like they're, excuse me, missing T Higgins big time. Like definitely need they think I think they need that weapon on the outside for sure, and they really miss Joe Mixon, in my opinion. I just don't. I don't feel like their running backs have been as good as Joe Mixon.
I don't think they're
What do
starting
you?
the right guy. I don't know why they keep on running Zach Moss. I think they need to run Chase
Oh,
Brown more. It's
I know. I would agree. I thought the Bengals have the Chiefs number, dude.
They do.
They
They
really
should have
they
won that
really should
game.
have won that game.
They could
Yeah,
have.
and they
They
had
should have.
the fumble by Joe Burrow really fucked them.
Yeah, I
But
don't know if that was a
oh,
fumble, bro.
I know. They
I
looked at it for like 10 seconds, it felt like.
Jeez, bro. It's fucking terrible. It just irks me, bro. Look, the Chiefs on the other hand, um, look, I know they're 2 and
Hey,
0.
they're not unbeatable, guys. They're not like the
I
Patriots in
Yeah,
08 or 07.
I don't think they look all that good, bro. I think I think the Xavier Worthy hype was a little bit fucking early. I think we
Thank
got a
you.
glimpse.
Thank
I
you.
think we got a glimpse week 2 on the harsh reality of Xavier Worthy. That he's not going to be one of these guys that just, oh, I'm gonna route you up. I'm gonna get 100 yards a game. He's not. Rashid Rice is the real fucking receiver there. He's the true number
Hmm.
one, and Xavier Worthy is a gadget guy for now. He has a lot of development to go.
Obviously, yeah, I agree,
And I don't think the Chiefs fans should bank on that. I think it's gonna be a
bro.
process.
The worst thing that could have happened maybe was him just going like scoring those 2 touchdowns. Which again, he only had like 40 yards. But man, so many people I talked to were like he went off. I'm like, no, he didn't. He didn't have that great of a game.
Yeah.
He had two. He had a broken coverage touchdown, and he had a reverse where he just ran straight and was really fast. I mean, he has skills that will translate. He will make some big plays,
Yeah.
but
And
he's not
then
ready to be a big time receiver in the NFL. It's not.
yeah,
It's not happening.
100%. 100%. He's a gadget guy right now. Let him develop. I'm not
Yeah,
saying that he's never gonna be that, but it's not gonna happen next week. Like he's not that guy already. Two more things on the Chiefs. Number one, Pacheco. He's gonna be out for a while. He broke his leg.
yeah.
I think
Six
that's
to
a
eight
huge.
weeks.
It's a huge loss. They're bringing in Kareem Hunt. They don't. I think
Yeah,
I know it's Patrick Mahomes. I know it's the Chiefs. They're gonna work through it. It's Andy Reid. Blah blah blah.
yeah. But
Another
their
thing.
identity isn't aired out. Their identity is run the ball, be really good on defense right now. If you ask
Yeah,
me, and
and then
sprinkling the Mahomes.
the other guy that's been there for years, that's always been that rock, Travis Kelsey. Doesn't
He's got
really
40
look the
yards through
same.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
I think Kelsey will get going.
we'll
Obviously, I think
see.
he will. I mean, it's hard to say he's not going to be good because he's been amazing his whole
Right.
career, seems like. But yeah, I think Kelsey, I think he's a little worrisome, but they haven't really been explosive on offense in 2 weeks, right? They haven't had that
Yeah,
great
I
of a
think
game.
it was the second lowest yards that Mahomes has thrown for.
But it's really the lowest because I don't think he played in that first game, he got like knocked out of.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's really, yeah, it was, and dude, the Bengals give them fits. They got Andy Reid is like Lou Amorano knows what's going on.
yeah.
It's like,
No one to me, the first 2 weeks, granted it is 2 weeks, no one to me looks dominant. No one. The Lions failed to show that. The Chiefs
well,
failed to show
the
that.
Saints, but I don't
Yeah,
believe it. I don't
I'm
believe
I'm
dominance
I'm
yet.
talking about dominance as far as like we know these guys coming into the season are going to be good and they're dominating. Even the Bills. The Bills have
Correct.
had their struggles even though they're 2-0. That's probably the closest thing. As an elite team going into the year and they're handling business. 2-0, but not in dominant fashion. Week 1 I
Correct.
wouldn't call that dominant.
What's the last thing you want to talk about
Okay,
before we get out
last
of here?
thing is your favorite NFL player, man. Kyler Murray
Kyle.
and
Oh,
the
Kyler.
Arizona Cardinals, who are the darlings of the NFL. Everyone's falling in love with the Cardinals. What do you think of Arizona, Max?
I,
MHJ came out and balled out.
he
Thoughts?
literally balled out for 1 quarter. Yeah, he did. I don't think he had a catch. No, I will say this: what I wrote in my notes. I think the Cardinals have a chance to be what the Rams were last year. I truly believe that. I think Jonathan Gannon, we said it last year, did a great job. They were competitive in a lot of games. And obviously, Kyler is a really good quarterback, top 10 in terms of talent. I just think they're a good team. I think they can be frisky. They have the defensive pieces to be frisky. Again, there's no one on defense like the Rams last year. Who were you like other than Aaron Donald? Were you like, oh, love that guy? Nobody, right? The Cardinals have a couple guys. You're kind of like, ooh, they're fun. They could be good. But overall, I think they can be frisky because they have a good offense, they have good defense, and they have good coaching. And I think the Rams are going to I think the Rams are going to take a step back. They've lost Puka, they've lost Cup. I think those are two really big injuries. I don't think they can afford those two guys going out, but they are. And I think the Cardinals could be a sneaky playoff team. I'm saying it right now, week 2.
Yeah, they can be good. They looked amazing. I think part of it was
Dude, they just
the
came out
Rams are
and killed
depleted
them.
though. They're done.
I
Like
know, I know,
they're
I know.
hanging
I
on
will
by
say this: Jared
strings.
Verse, I like. I've seen some things I like from Jared Verse. I
I
want to
mean,
just
how
point that
can you
out.
not? I mean, they're starting so many rookies. They're starting so many young guys. They lost Cooper Cup. They lost Puka Nakua. Like their offensive line is banged up. I believe they
Yeah, they have
lost.
no tackles. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's tough right
it's
now. They're going to take a step back, and I think the Cardinals will benefit. The
yeah,
Cardinals really should be 2-0 right now. They
yeah.
really should.
Look, I'm just gonna say this: the Cardinals may have an amazing regular season. They may get into the playoffs. that does not mean that Kyler Murray is going to show true poise and true like character when it comes to a playoff game. He's yet to prove it.
When's Black Ops 6 come out? Is it out
Exactly. Black Ops hasn't came out. Call of Duty's not out yet. You know, underline joke. But I'm serious though. I'm serious. The last time we saw this guy with an elite team,
He went to the playoffs and shit the fucking bed. And
none.
like
He was a shell of himself.
That's when he threw the shovel pass for a pick
Yes.
6 on the 1
To
yard
the
line.
Rams. It was terrible. So that's the guy that I know. And look, this guy, he's a video game during the regular season. He's made for the regular season. He does great.
No. He is great the first few weeks before the hits start compiling.
That is true too.
I want to No, I just think that's what he's always been. It's always been hot starts with the Cardinals. 8-0, 8-1.
Yeah.
And it just falls off.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. They look good. You know, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, they do. That was an awesome game for them to respond with.
It was. Look, it's easy to fall in love with them. I like the defense more. I like because they work with some guys that you don't really know that are not
that white
really
linebacker.
Like, Gardick, like he's a baller, bro.
Dude, I want to see Darius Robinson. I haven't watched the Cardinals closely. I'm so excited.
Well, he's on IR, so he hasn't been.
Oh, is he still on IR?
Yeah, he's still on IR.
I thought he came back.
That's just another piece that we'll see. Like they can add to their defense and be even more dominant. But Cardinals are looking good. We'll see what happens. To me, it's a wait and see. We'll see what happens with the Cardinals. Let's wait until Call of Duty comes out. All right. Anything else on week 2, Max?
I have one thing I wanted to say about the Bears, but I don't know if you want me to hold it. It'll hold steady for a week, I'm sure.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get into it. Look, week 2's coming around, is already in the close, so week 3's coming around the corner. Look, me and Max have some plans to put out a couple of videos that are different from the podcast format. We want to do a little film breakdown on a couple players, man, especially Bryce Young. So we might be coming out with that one, give our thoughts, especially the fact that he's benched now. So we're going to go over the film of week 1 and 2, analyze some plays that we thought, hey, is this a scheme thing? Is this a confidence thing? We're going to break it all down, and a couple of other surprises that we have for you guys in the coming weeks. All right, so stay tuned. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Greatly appreciate it. If you guys have any comments, thoughts, go ahead and comment down below, all that good stuff. Max, anything else?
Man, we're trying to get to 2K, man. We appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome, dude. We're getting big time views for us. You know, we're really happy. We appreciate you guys. We're gonna keep trying to put out some of the same and even more different things for us. So we appreciate it.
Yeah,
I would have won the pick'ems. I'm just gonna put that out there.
I won last year, but okay. Yeah, you forgot about that, asshole.
3-1 lifetime.
No proof of it, bro. So technically we're 1-1. All right, we're gonna get out of here. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Big dreams, everything ain't what it seems. Glittering gold, both ways. Not on my team. This organic, we don't buy streams.